What's up, everybody? I'm here with Anthoy Juckes, who is taking on Michael Kampel this weekend, March 7th in Missoula, Montana. And we are very much looking forward to this matchup. And I have Anthoy here so we can chat with him about this upcoming fight. Now, Anthoy, we've had a chance to talk before, and you just so for people to remember, you have an amazing pedigree in wrestling. You were not the four-time state champion, right? You were the five-time state champion. Can you tell us about that? How is it possible to be a five-time champ?
Yeah, so in New Mexico, after your middle school season, you can move up and wrestle for your high school in eighth grade. And so I did that. Ended up wrestling in junior in the state finals as an eighth grader, came out on top, and then kept it going from there.
Awesome. So your wrestling pedigree, I'm sure we're gonna see some really cool stuff, I think, in general on the ground in this fight. And it's gonna be very exciting. Now, you also mentioned to me last time we talked that after you eventually moved to Missoula, I think primarily to train jujitsu. And what age was that?
Let's see. So I moved there from my wife's pharmacy school, and that's when I started training jujitsu.
I see.
And I picked it up. It was what was that? I was probably 23, 24 at the time.
Okay.
Um, Whenever I first moved to Missoula. Living in Butte now, so just moved there after my last fight in May, or my last fight was in March, and then I moved to Butte in May.
I see. Okay. Now I'm looking at your record, and obviously you won your first fight by triangle choke. You won your last fight against Holden with another submission via armbar, and of course this is a rematch. You're going to be fighting Michael Kampel again. And what's so interesting about this is Michael Kampel has a whole bunch of submission victories as well. So as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a very interesting fight on the ground. But who knows? It's MMA. It could stay on the feet as well. Is there anything in particular that you've been working on since your last fight with Michael or with Holden, specifically from the ground standpoint, jiu-jitsu standpoint?
Yeah, I've coming into this, I know that Michael's a submission artist. That's how he's won all of his fights. So it's a lot of submission defense on my part. I know where I'm at when it comes to my submission offense. I've proven that I can handle some people with that, but really is my submission defense that it needed some work coming into this with him being, so well rounded on the ground. So put some focus into that and some focus into, you know, just making sure that when we are on the feet, I know where I'm at there as well. So uh think we're gonna see a different fight this time around.
Was there any major one big lesson or big takeaway that you had from the first time that you fought Michael Campbell?
Stick to my game plan, really. That was it. I veered from the game plan and we got caught. I think, he, like I said, he's tough. He's a submission artist, but he caught me in a submission, and it wasn't. I fought to the very end. I thought I could get out, and I ended up going to sleep. So I
Sure,
think that shows more about me than it does about him. I'm willing to go in there and go to sleep for it
sure.
rather than admit defeat. So
100%, 100%. And one other thing that you mentioned in a previous interview. Now, this is a long time ago, and you don't have to get into. You can get into whatever specifics that you're comfortable with, obviously. But
yes.
in one of our interviews, you mentioned, I think, an injury stemming back from October of 2024 that you were trying to recover from. Is that all cleared up in the past now?
Oh yeah. It was minor surgery, hernia surgery,
Ah, I
um,
see.
from what I'm assuming is a training incident. I don't even really know where it started. It just kind of became uncomfortable. Something I got looked at, and after talking with my coaches, I was like, all right, let's just address this now and
Mhm.
get back to fighting, or try
Sure.
and struggle through it a little bit and see. It's not. It wasn't anything like you have to get surgery, but it was just kind of. It seemed to me the smarter option at the time.
Got you. Okay, well, this is going to be very exciting. Now, I'd love to just switch gears a little bit. As a mixed martial arts fan, I love coming and commentating for Fusion because I love the sport so much. But I'm also a big fan of the UFC. There's been a lot of movement in the UFC in the entire mixed martial arts world since 2026. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. So I'm just curious to know: are there any big fights or big fighters in the UFC that you're really excited to see get back in the octagon anytime soon?
Man, this weekend is going to be a banger of a card for the UFC as well. So lucky for me, I'm early on our fight card and hopefully get in there, finish my fight. And, obviously I've got three teammates fighting on the card as well. But, hopefully with the Paramount deal, I'll be able to catch a little bit of action in the back, watch some of those fights. I'm really excited for that Oliveira and Holloway fight.
Oh
Big
yes,
fan of both of those guys. And, it sucks that one of them has to lose, but I know
it
both of those
does.
guys are going to go to war. So.
It does. It's one of those fights. I remember feeling this way when it was Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier. Like sometimes there's these
Yeah,
matchups with
man.
like two really beloved fighters, and you just don't really know. You know what I mean? It kind of feels
Yeah.
weird. Um,
Yeah, it's tough, and it's I feel like a lot of people feel that way, like there's not many people who will be like, oh, dude, I hate Charles Oliveira or I hate Max Holloway, like those are like
yeah,
fan favorites for everybody. So,
I know. Okay, well, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who are you picking and why?
oh, it's tough. I'm gonna go with Max, dude. He's proven it time and time again that he is the BMF. He's put the belt on the line against the best and come out on top. I think, he's got what it takes to stand and bang. And I don't, Charles is great both on his feet and on the ground. I think we're gonna get a war either way, but I think Max walks away with the win.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I'm actually kind of going the other way though. Like I could definitely see Max getting the victory. Justin and I, we have a YouTube channel that we talk about mixed martial arts. He's picking Max as well. But I just feel like because Charles is the more well-rounded fighter, he'll have an edge. But it's MMA. That's the beauty of the game. We could go any which way. So I guess we'll see. And yeah, that's super, super cool. And then tell me about yourself outside of fighting. What have you been up to, or what have you really been passionate about and working on outside of the fight game?
Outside of fighting, it's been mostly just work. A lot of personal stuff over the past year since my last fight. So just it's taken a lot to even want to get back in the cage.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional here, but
Oh, okay.
um, 2 weeks after my last fight, I lost my little brother.
Mm.
Man, it's been a hell of a time trying to get through that.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on a year. Um, my last fight, ironically, was actually March 7th last year.
Mm.
So it's you know, for me, part of my recovery and my healing was taking this fight.
Okay.
Um, my little brother, he was my biggest fan.
Mm.
He was always there, So
Mhm. Mhm.
doing this without him is going to be tough. It's
Mm.
going to be, almost just as hard as losing him. I feel like,
Mm.
but we're getting through it, and I've got something to prove, not only to myself, but well, mostly to myself, but to everybody that supports me. It's been
Yeah.
it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a tough year, and that was the last thing we got to do together. Was he got to come watch me fight, and we got to spend a weekend doing that, and so it
Mm.
means a lot for me to get back in there. It took time off to deal with that, and
Mm.
you know, for a while, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to fight again. It
Yeah.
was, and then once I got back into training, it was, it was slow at first, slow and steady, just trying to get back into it and find my groove in a new gym. And, once I got in there, it was like, all right, they started asking, all right, what do you want to fight? They're asking about you. And, you know, at first, I think there was maybe an event more recent that they would have maybe wanted me for, and there was just no way, it was hadn't been training, hadn't been ready to fight or really do anything. So it,
Mhm.
whenever they asked, and I got the date, I was like, all right, I can be ready by then. And so it's taken, like I said, it's taken a lot. It's been an emotional battle
Mhm.
since the start, really. But
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm ready to fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. And man, my sincerest, deepest condolences in for this fight. Are you going to be? Is a lot of the rest of your family? You mentioned your wife. Are you going to have a lot of other people like that in your corner at the event?
Yeah, absolutely. So my wife and a lot of her family, a lot of my friends and stuff are making a trip out. So it's gonna be huge having their support there. Rest of my family, most of my family's in New Mexico. My little brother was living in Idaho, so it
Mhm,
was a shorter drive for him. You know, he'd
mhm,
come to Missoula. It was only a couple hours, and he'd stay with me.
mhm,
So you know, like I said, we got to hang out, spend the weekend together.
mhm.
But the rest of my family's down in New Mexico, and so they're all gonna have a little streaming party and stuff. I'll call in and FaceTime with them before I get to the arena and start locking in. So
Okay. Well, when I see you on Friday, make sure let me know, because obviously we'll be on the broadcast and we'll be for your family that's watching on the streaming party. If there's anything you want me to shout out for you, or send a message to your family during your walkout, let me know and we will 100% do that for you.
absolutely, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. Man, okay. Well, dude, like I said, from the beginning, I cannot wait to see this fight. I mean, man, I didn't know that about your personal story. So just you getting back in there, wow, like that's massive. And on top of that, I think we're in for a really fascinating fight, a really interesting fight with two guys that have amazing ground game. So this is going to be this. I think a lot of people are going to be really excited once you guys get going and get after it. So I want to wish you the best of luck. How's the weight cut going? How's the preparation going leading into the fight right now?
Absolutely, man, I appreciate it. Weight cut, everything's been going good, man. This is overall the most prepared I felt coming into a fight.
Mhm.
As far as weight and everything, I haven't really had to spend a whole lot of time, you know,
Mhm.
killing myself or anything. I think this last few pounds is going to come off easy,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to be ready to go. Quick recovery, quick turnaround, and get back to it on Saturday.
Okay. All right. Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And best of luck. Looking forward to seeing you on March 7th in Missoula, Montana. And we will
Yes,
see you
sir,
guys
man.
there.
I really appreciate you. Really appreciate your time, man. I will talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, take it easy.
Thank you.